Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. In today's episode, we're going to cover three main topics. We're going to talk Russia, Ukraine. I'm going to give you a anecdote, a story that's happening to a close family friend of mine. It's it's tragic what's happening, but I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes of what they're going through. We're also going to talk about this new Giga Shanghai expansion, new Gigafactory that's apparently going to be coming on here soon, or construction is going to start. And we're going to look at this article because the sheer numbers associated with this are insane, and kind of gives a model for what we could see in the future with Austin and Berlin. And then finally, we're going to take a look at this analyst who is essentially saying buy as much Tesla stock as you can right now. All right. This is not financial advice, not on my part. They're an analyst. You can, do with it what you will. But so that's what we're going to cover today. Also, don't forget, we do have a merch store. We think we have some pretty unique designs, so you can see some of them here. Take a look. There's other things on the site. You can find the link to the site down below in the description. All right, with that said, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. Let's get into it. So I've talked about a few times how I have a very, very close friend of mine. I don't want to talk about any names or anything, but he's a friend of mine. He went to Annapolis. He's from the Ukraine. He moved here when he was younger. His grandparents pretty much raised him while he lived in the States, and his parents continued to live in the Ukraine. He met his wife in Paris. She's also from the Ukraine. She was training to be a Somalian. I think that's called, where you're a professional wine taster. But beautiful family, beautiful people. And they still have a lot of family over in Ukraine. And mainly his wife has her mother and her little sister are still over there. And so I was checking in with him, of course. And he texted me this morning saying that he passed out last night somewhere around 2 a.m. with a lot of failed attempts to help them find a car. He said, I'm not 100% sure if they got any closer to the Polish border, but I think his wife's name was able to potentially get them one last train ticket. I just woke up, so I'll be trying to get an update as soon as possible. And then he went on to say, just got confirmation. They got the last ticket on the last train and just boarded it. Mother and daughter both got on board. Now, I thought, I texted him saying, thank God, train to Poland, ? And he said, no, to Western Ukraine. From there, they'll have to get a car or bus or something. So they still aren't out of the Ukraine. They're just trying to get as far west as possible. They live in southeastern Ukraine, so essentially where a lot of this conflict is happening. But yeah, so it's real, guys. He also mentioned that they're bombing airports or around the airports, so people don't go to airports to flee. This is happening. It's tragic. This again, I've said this, it's 2022. This shouldn't be happening. This is no way to resolve any differences. This is just honestly a very archaic way of approaching anything. So I feel for them. I feel for anyone out there in Ukraine who's going through this, who's trying to seek asylum somewhere, trying to get the freedom. Our thoughts are with you. As for my friend, I'm keeping updates with him. I'll let you guys know how things end up, but I think they're going to be fine. It seems like they have a good plan to move forward, and luckily him and his wife, they have means to help them as soon as they can get out of the Ukraine. All right, with that said, let's bounce on to Giga Shanghai. Reuters had this article that was titled "Exclusive: Tesla Plans New Shanghai Plant to More Than Double China Capacity, Sources." Now, when I first saw this, my initial instinct was, yeah, we all know that Giga Shanghai is going to have this expansion that's supposed to be done in April, or we'd already talked about that. But then when this said to more than double China capacity, that caught my eye, so I read on. So let's read this together. Tesla Inc. plans to start work on a new plant in Shanghai as soon as next month as part of a plan to more than double production capacity in China to meet growing demand for its cars in the country and export markets. Two people familiar with the matter told Reuters. Keep in mind, Tesla Giga Shanghai right now is essentially at a million vehicle run rate, right? I think maybe more like 800,000, but still, right? They're essentially at a million vehicle run rate. Once the new plant is fully operational, Tesla will have the capacity to produce up to 2 million cars per year. at its expected Shanghai facility, the company's main export hub, according to people who asked not to be identified in discussing still private plans. Absolutely insane. Giga Shanghai going to 2 million vehicles. The place where we have the most efficiency, the highest margins. I mean, and this is not even including what's going to happen with Berlin or Austin, all right? I mean, seriously, they're just next level right now. The next plant will be located in the vicinity of its existing production base in Lingang, Pudong. Oh, I'm not good at this. New area. Tesla declined to comment. The expansion, if it goes ahead, would give Tesla EV dedicated production capacity in the world's largest auto market on par with more established brands in China. And here you can see some of the comparisons, right? Toyota produces 1.6 million vehicles in China in 2021. GM was 1.4. Volkswagen is about 1 million. So if we scroll down here, the cost of the planned expansion and Tesla's timetable for completion were not immediately known. I'm sure everybody's already making comments saying, oh, Giga Shanghai 2.0 is going to be done before Berlin ever opens. You never know. China moves fast, Berlin doesn't. Okay, so Tesla started production at its Shanghai. All right, we know that. Okay, so I highlighted this. Expansion plans for the existing plant aim to put Tesla on track to produce around 1 million vehicles this year. Two sources familiar with the expansion plans told Reuters, though one said this also depended on the availability of parts. So this is the expansion that I was referring to before. So this is the initial one that we all knew about. It's supposed to be done in April. That should get Tesla to a 1 million vehicle in Giga Shanghai. And then this is on top of that. They're going to have this new Gigafactory, which is going to be in the same vicinity of the current one. And that's also going to be able to put out 1 million. So total 2 million vehicles. And so if it's anything the way Giga Shanghai went, this might be done in a year, right? So at the end of 2022, we might be talking about this new factory that's about to open up in China. It's just crazy. Tesla has projected to take its weekly production to about 22,000 vehicles at the plant in the coming months, one of the sources said. This is just insane, all right? Now, there's more here, but it's honestly more of stuff that we already know. But this is just insane. All right, so here's what's happening, okay? While all this stuff is happening in the world, Ukraine, Russia, inflation, the Fed, all this stuff, people freaking out about Elon Musk's message when it comes to Optimus, people freaking about Elon talking about full self-driving coming out this year. Forget all that. Forget all the noise. Forget all of Tesla's future products, okay? Forget about FSD. Forget about all of the energy. Forget all of that, all right? We have Giga Shanghai about to be at 1 million vehicle run rate. We have Fremont essentially at about 500,000 to 600,000 vehicles, and they're trying to increase it by 50%. We have Giga Austin about to open up. And Giga Austin, should be about 500,000, maybe 800,000 vehicles in what they are currently building, which also encompasses a battery factory. Keep that in mind. But they have enough land to add another, 7 or 8 gigafactories of the same site. And then you have Giga Berlin also on the verge, on the precipice of opening, and that will also be able to do 500,000 vehicles. And that's, again, we're talking about baseline, right? We don't even know what it'll be like with their efficiencies and how that grows, but they have enough land to essentially add another 2, maybe 3 factories of equivalent size. And don't forget, they are also going to have a battery factory. This is nuts. This is what people are missing. They don't get it. Tesla's making all these vehicles, all this volume that's about to come online. And on top of that, they are getting about 30% gross margins on these vehicles. 30%. All right. Most people, like Ford's at 3-4%? GM is at 7 to 8%? Volkswagen's maybe around 9%? They are doing essentially a 3x on what everybody else does on their vehicles. And meanwhile, the whole world is transitioning to electric. Nobody else can make a profitable electric vehicle. And Tesla's not only doing this with crazy margins, with all this volume coming online, but on top of that, they have all of the hardware already baked into the cost for full self-driving. What? This is what people are missing. Not everybody's missing this. Check this out. I have never ever seen anybody have a aggressive headline like this as an analyst. Look at this. Buy Tesla aggressively global equities. Global equities research analyst Trip Chowdhury is telling clients to aggressively buy Tesla amid the sell-off related to global macro concerns and expected higher interest rates from the Fed. He highlighted first quarter 2022, in other words, the quarter that's going to end in March, the quarter that we will see earnings in April. Also, keep in mind, beginning of April, we'll have the Giga Shanghai grand opening party. So, a lot of stuff going on there. First quarter 2022 will be massive. Please read our February 19th, February 8th, January 11th reports below. Tesla is the only company that has control over the central stack. Competition is clueless. Chowdhury reiterated an overweight rating and a $1,500 price target on Tesla. I have never, ever seen somebody beat the drum so hard on a stock to buy. In fact, I even bought another 150 shares of Tesla today. So I couldn't agree more with this. This is completely undervalued. This is completely oversold. This is way too far down. It's going to spring back up. I'm convinced of this. I talked about this, 2-3 episodes ago. I said I think all this noise will end come April. I think come April, we're going to see everything start going back to normal. Look, Russia invaded today. We'll see what goes on with that. But I think in the next month, right, all that's going to kind of iron itself out where it's going to be. Russia will probably try to prop up Ukraine with a faux government, a puppet government that, they're going to be able to control. And then with the Fed's probably only going to go up by 0.25%. They'll probably do 5 or 6 this year. So we know what the roadmap is going to be. The biggest thing that the market hates is uncertainty. And Russia invading today actually provided certainty for the market. That's why you saw the market rebound today. It's because they finally knew. It wasn't a will they, won't they, right? This wasn't like a Ross and Rachel from Friends kind of thing, right? Hopefully some of you get that reference. But the point is they finally did it, so at least the market knows what's going to happen. Same goes with the Fed. Once the Fed goes ahead and says, okay, we're going to hike rates, 0.25%, 25 basis points. We're going to do it for the next, 5 cycles, seven in a row. Doesn't matter. That will give the market certainty. The market will start to stabilize. It'll start to come back. The Fed knows that. Also, keep in mind, when it comes to Tesla specifically, so all this happens in March, right, towards middle of March, and then boom, we hit the first week of April. What do we get? First, we're going to get Tesla's deliveries for Q1. Right, we see here that global equities research analyst Trip Chowdhury is saying that it is crazy. The numbers are going to be insane. All right, so if those numbers look the same as Q4, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. If they are higher, oh my goodness, like this is going to be a crazy year. So that's one, right? We'll get those delivery numbers. 2, April 7th, we have Giga Shanghai grand opening party. That's going to be a big deal. Hopefully that's where they announce, yep, we are open. We are going to start producing vehicles. That will be fantastic. And then we have Q1 earnings. And much to the dismay of many investors, many Tesla fans, Elon will likely not be on that call. For investors and for Wall Street, that's excellent because that means Zach will control the narrative. Zach will tell Wall Street what they want to hear. He'll massage it. He'll play the typical boring Wall Street game, and Wall Street will respect and reward it, and you'll see more people filing back into Tesla. So I'm absolutely convinced that come April, we will be in better footing. All of this will kind of be behind us. I'm not saying we'll be at $1,200. I'm not even saying we'll be at $1,000. What I am saying is that we won't be on the decline like we are now. In fact, I'm even willing to put, and I don't ever do this. I never do this. I don't believe in timing the market. I don't believe in giving false predictions. But if you had to ask me, do I think today was the bottom of what's happening? I would say yes. Breaking into the 600s, we're at 695 at one point. I think we bottom. I absolutely think we bottom. I think that's as low as we're going to go. Any lower than that, and we have to be in World War III for a situation like that. And even then, the idea of World War III would probably send it lower, not the fact that World War III actually happened. So I think that, as long as there's no other external macro outlier that we're not seeing, as long as nothing crazy happens with Tesla, as long as Elon doesn't say something to rattle the markets, which could be positive or negative, you never know. I think April will be when we can start to really have a sigh of relief and look to the bigger picture, focus on what matters, which is a company's fundamentals moving forward, and maybe put some of this macro noise behind us. All right, so we're gonna leave it there. I hope everybody in Ukraine, I honestly, I hope you're all safe. I'm have nothing but the most amount of empathy I could possibly have for all of you. My heart goes out to you. Both of ours do. Me and my fiance. What's happening is absolutely tragic. This is 2022. We shouldn't have to resort to settling our conflicts like this. Diplomacy needs to be what allows us to move forward, even if we don't agree with each other. I mean, you have to be amicable. Going to war, lives lost, people's just worlds and cities and towns ruined. It's not worth it for what? For the vanity of some old man. It just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And I hope everybody out there stay safe, right? Be cautious, be alert to your surroundings, and please find somewhere to have cover and be safe until all this hopefully blows over, and hopefully it comes to an end sooner than later. All right, with that said, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. Don't forget, we do have a merch store. You can see some of the stuff here, and you can find a link to it down below. All right, I love you all. Thanks for watching. Peace.